Within 1 year, we want to have an online business, the freedom to live from anywhere in the world and be back out in Thailand. And I started writing, and I would write like 500-word articles for $5. I had no like business knowledge or business sense, but I was like, right, I'll do anything to make an online income and to be able to quit my job. So right now I have a 7-figure business. I have like 50 people working for me, hundreds of clients all over the world, mostly in the US. Lucky enough to be in a position where I don't need to work, but I keep working because I want to keep growing the business, and I just love the game.
Hey folks, Pete here from Thairish Times. How's it going? What's the story? Long way down. I hope nobody has vertigo. I certainly don't. Anyway, today we're going to talk to a guy called Julian Goldie about his business and his life in Thailand. So, did you like the last episode we did with Julia? The Day in the Life series of a British entrepreneur in Bangkok, Thailand. That was interesting for me because I've done a lot of interviews, and like anything in life, if you keep doing something all the time, it gets a little bit repetitive and it gets a bit boring. So the Day in the Life series was fresh for me, kept things interesting. I had to constantly think on my feet, how am I going to film this? How am I going to edit this video? And it was enjoyable. So I hope you like that one. If you haven't seen that one, I'll leave a link at the end of this video. Go and check it out. I'd like to do more as well. So if you're out in Bangkok now and you want Pete to shadow you for a day, hit me up at thairishtimes@gmail.com. I've got another one coming, another Day in the Life series coming. But anyway, I was thinking the other day, I've interviewed a lot of people, probably about 50. And every person that I interview, I always make a quick note about what it was like and what I learned from it. And what I learned from this one with Julian was fail, learn and improve. Okay, that's what I took from the interview. Let me know what you got from the interview. Be cool to hear your perspectives, and yeah, like what value you got from the interview. Anyway, I'm sounding very intelligent now. Oh, what value did you get from the interview? Anyway, let's get into the interview. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and enjoy. Julian, how's it going?
Doing great. How you doing?
Thank you. I'm good, man. Thanks for doing this.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so tell us where you're from.
So I'm from Manchester, England originally.
Okay,
and,
cool.
Now live in Bangkok.
Now live in Bangkok. How long have you been over here?
In Bangkok about a year, but I've been coming to Thailand on and off for like the last sort of 5 or 6 years.
All right, and you do something interesting for a living. Tell us all what you do.
So I have a SEO agency, which stands for Search Engine Optimization. And basically, I help websites rank #1 on Google and have a bunch of clients doing that via my agency.
Can you explain, for someone who has no knowledge of this,
sure,
and they're watching right now, what is it like? Can you give us more information about what that involves?
Sure. So with Google, the more people that click on your website, the more customers you get as a business. So if you want to grow your business and make more money as a business, then you need more clicks from Google. And what we do is we kind of hack Google's algorithm to help websites rank higher on Google. And if you ever typed anything into Google and you've seen like, why is this site ranking higher than that site? Why is this one #1? Well, that's basically what we help companies do, yeah.
And did you set this up over here in Thailand?
So it's actually, the company is registered in Singapore, but I work online, have an online business, and most of my clients are actually in the US, but yeah.
So tell us, how did this develop? Because I checked today when I was doing the research on this,
yeah.
You have a really interesting story, right, of how you began from the very start until where you are today. Can you tell us that story?
Sure. So, I mean, the reason that I love Thailand is I came here like 5 or 6 years ago, and I was on a bit of a lad's holiday. So it was me and a few mates from England, and we were here for like 2 weeks, and we had such a good time. But when we came back to England, we had massive holiday blues. You know, it was like raining, bad food, expensive prices, kind of missing Thailand a little bit. So we said, right, within 1 year, we want to have an online business, the freedom to work, well, the freedom to live from anywhere in the world, and be back out in Thailand within 1 year. And it happened for all 3 of us.
How did you start it?
I started off by writing copy, so I had literally no idea what I was doing. I was just like, right, I want to make money online. I have no idea how to get started, but I'll just figure something out along the way. So within a week of coming back from Thailand, back to England, I started working on a website called Fiverr.com. And Fiverr is basically people pay you like $5 to do stuff. And I started writing, and I would write like 500-word articles for $5. Crazy cheap. I had no like business knowledge or business sense, but I was like, right, I'll do anything to make an online income and to be able to quit my job. So I started off there, started gathering a bit of momentum, started with my first $5 order. I remember being like proud of myself for making $5 online. And then within a year, I had enough monthly income to be able to quit my job and, you know, move abroad. And I actually remember when I handed in my notice to quit my last job, I was working in marketing at the time, they fired everyone in marketing that month, just as I handed in my notice. So I would have lost my job anyway.
Well, you got lucky then.
It was a good time.
Maybe someone up there was looking out for you, and they said, okay, time to make the next move.
Could be an angel up there, I don't know.
Yeah. So tell us, sorry, where are you today? From starting off writing articles, 500 words for $5, where are you now?
So right now I have a 7-figure business. So, you know, it makes 7 figures a year in revenue. I have like 50 people working for me, and hundreds of clients all over the world, mostly in the US. And yeah, I've sort of been lucky enough to be in a position where I don't need to work, I would say, but I keep working because I want to keep growing the business, and I just love the game. Yeah.
So I checked your Instagram today. I was going down looking at your photos. Not anything bad, right? It was just, you know, not like saying, oh, look at this guy. And well, there were some great photos of me, and you're in the gym and you're working out, and you look like you're living a good lifestyle. We're going to talk to you about your lifestyle now in a second, but before that, I came across something that I thought was interesting, and it's kind of like what I would say is your philosophy on life about failure. And basically what I wrote written down here beside me is the key to your success, and you wrote down fail, learn and improve, and how that has impacted your life, because in your Instagram post you said that you were fired from your first sales position.
Yep, remember that clearly. Yeah.
So tell us about that story, why you got fired, and how you learned and improved.
Sure. So I started working off. I actually got fired from my first 3 jobs. So originally I was working in a kitchen. You know, when I was like 16, you know, you get that job for £4 an hour or something like that. I got fired from that. Started working off in another pub. Got fired from that as well. It was a bit of a trend there. And then after I graduated from uni, I started working for another company. My uncle got me a job in the company, and very quickly I sort of started getting promoted because I was really eager to learn and put myself out there. And then I got a job in sales, and it was like the job I always wanted. You know, you get the company car, you get more money. When I started working in that job, I didn't enjoy it. I was so bored. I was terrible at sales, and I had no idea what I was doing. I was like 20 years old. So within about 3 months, the boss took me into the office and was like, listen mate, you gotta go. You don't enjoy this job and you need to leave. But I learned a lot from that and situations like that. And for me, I think it's much better to try and fail than to not try at all, because if you fail, you learn something, and then you can apply it to the next thing you tackle and the next thing. And you know, it's just a continuous cycle of put yourself out there. Sometimes you're going to fail, you learn from that, and as long as you do learn from that, then you'll be better next time you do something else. Yeah.
So what kind of skills did you feel that you were lacking in sales? Because it's something that I thought, it's an interesting job, sales. I think it's designed for a certain type of person.
100%.
So what would you think, if you could go back and you could analyse it and say, all right, a 20-year-old kid, you know, what skills was I lacking? What would you say?
I mean, a big part of it was, I would say, confidence. Honestly, when you're 20 years old and you're meeting these CEOs or like really top level people, you feel intimidated. I did it personally anyway, and I was always quite a shy lad when I was like 16, 18, whatever. So I know for me it was a big part of it was confidence, but also motivation. Like I noticed, as you've seen, like fired from my first 3 jobs, I never really had any ambition to work for someone else. I was always self-motivated, and it was about me, and that's why I think I did much better at running my own business, because then I really cared about the result, and I knew that whether I succeed or whether I fail, it comes down to me. It's my responsibility to make that work. So with sales, for example, it was commission only. If I didn't get any sales for the business I started, a few years ago, then I wouldn't make any money. No clients equals no money. So all of a sudden, I went from someone who wasn't confident enough to sell to someone who was like, I need to make this work. I need to figure it out. And if I have that belief in myself and I know I can learn from it, then I'll get much better in the future. So I've literally been on hundreds of sales calls, and now I love sales, and I love working with the sales team that we have at our business because it's just fun. It feels like Wolf of Wall Street or something,
It's crazy how life is, when you can go back and you see yourself as a young kid, and you're starting off working, and you see yourself where you are today, and you could say, I wish I could go back and just shake that kid and say, hey kids, come on, do this, don't do that.
So much. Yeah, that's it. I think a lot of it is learning from your mistakes, right? So for me, nowadays, to try and speed that up, I do a lot of journaling, a lot of meditation, and just sort of self-reflection on, okay, even just today, what did I learn today? What didn't work? How can I learn from that so that I'm better tomorrow? And just try and be 1% better than I was before. Yeah.
Let's talk about your lifestyle in Thailand.
Sure.
Because I met you at a comedy club a couple of weeks ago. You were in the audience, you were watching your friend Antoine, who I already interviewed, nice fella.
Yeah, legend, yeah.
And we had a quick conversation, and in that conversation, something struck me. You said, I don't drink. So tell us about that, because it's an interesting, I suppose in the expat community, a lot of people drink, and alcohol is definitely a tool that people use to bring themselves together, right, to socialize. But you don't drink over here, so tell us about that.
Yeah, so when I was, and this is another failure of mine, when I was 24 years old, I used to drink a lot at the weekends, like pretty heavily, and like UK culture, it's all about drinking at the weekends, going out with your mates, and sort of having an escape from what you do during the week. For me, when I was about 24, I started feeling more and more anxious after drinking. I wake up the next day, get all sorts of weird symptoms like pins and needles in my arms, and like I wouldn't be myself. Again, my confidence was kind of down from that. And I noticed that it was progressing, it was getting worse and worse every single weekend, to the point where I kind of got burnt out. I didn't look after myself, so I wasn't sleeping properly, I wasn't taking care of myself, I wasn't living very healthy, and I was drinking, not excessively, but I was drinking at the weekends to the point where it would affect the rest of the week. And then I got to a point where, okay, I can't work because I'm so anxious. I had to go and live with my grandma and granddad for about 6 months. And it was probably like the lowest point in my life, honestly. But I learned from that, and I was like, right, well, I can't drink anymore. That's literally not even an option. So for 8 years now, I've not drunk any alcohol. And the progress in my life since I've done that, it's just been like an upwards curve. Because all of a sudden, I have a lot more clarity in my thinking. I'm a lot more happy in myself. My mood is better. I'm actually doing stuff on the weekends rather than being hungover in bed. And it just gives you a lot more focus. And I think when you eliminate that, all of a sudden you can live a much healthier and happier life. Yeah.
So tell us about your activities, your hobbies over here in Bangkok.
Sure. So one of my main hobbies is playing music. So I'm a songwriter. I play guitar and sing.
Where do you play?
All over Bangkok, really, like Fatty's in Tong Law at Speaker Box, playing there on Thursday. I've played at Queen Bee, Sukhumvit 26, and just all over the city. Yeah, the music scene is amazing here. So, yeah.
Anything else?
I go to the gym a lot, work out like 5 times a week, and do a lot of like meditation, stretching. I like to go for walks around Bangkok, and every Thursday as well I do like a fun activity. So, for example, that might be like archery or something like that, but every Thursday afternoon I'll basically not work and go and do something creative. That means when I come back to work, I have more ideas and more inspiration, and I'm kind of recharged from what I was doing previously.
How many hours a day are you working?
So everything that I do is proactive, right? So it's not about like fighting fires or anything like that. So technically I don't have to work because my team handles everything, and all the people in my company are sort of doing all the jobs I was working on previously. So every single thing that I work on is proactive and trying to grow the business and trying to grow the revenue and that sort of thing. So I work, I would say 3 hours in the morning, but it's really intense focus work. It's not like small little jobs here and there. It's not any sort of admin. It's like, right, for 1 hour, I'm going to focus on one problem, solve it, create a system that my team can use. And then I know that 1 hour invested will save me like 30, 40 hours a week, because it's a system that I create and it's an investment.
Okay, cool. That's very interesting.
I think it's the only way you can scale up your time, you know. And for me, like, everyone has 24 hours in a day, right? So for me, it's really, how do I best use that? And I know if I sell my time, I won't get that back. But if I create a system and I can hire people to work on that system without me and without my time, then all of a sudden I can grow more and more and more. So for example, I was checking out, I track it all the time that my team works in the business. And between them, they've worked, I think it's about 20,000, 30,000 hours, something like that between them. And I was like, wow, that all started from me sitting behind a laptop trying to figure this out, to people working 20,000 hours.
And where are the team based?
All over. So we have a lot of people in the Philippines. We have like a couple of customer service reps who are, one's in Belgium, another's in Bali. So it's like fully remote, the business. Our sales manager is in New York. Yeah.
Wow, man, that's pretty cool. I mean, I like that.
Thanks.
Any chance for a job?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Right. So let's talk about. So, are you single?
Yes.
Single, and okay. Now, let's be honest. We're in Thailand. There's a lot of temptations here.
Absolutely.
You're a young guy with money. Have you decided to be single, or is that like? Go on, tell us about that.
Yeah. So I've been single. Oh, pretty much, yeah, since I was about 24 as well. So it's been a fair few years now, and obviously had relationships, small relationships in between. But for me, as you say, there's so many temptations in the city, but I'm way more focused on my goals and what I want to achieve in life. So yes, there's a temptation in Bangkok. Of course, I date like everyone else, but it's not the main feature of my life at all. I'm more focused on my goals, what I want to achieve, where I'm going in the future, and how can I get closer to that. And I know that if I'm invested in a relationship but I don't think it's serious, then I'm kind of wasting my time, because I'm not going to get that time back, and it's not building anything for the future. Yeah. But right now I'm happy being single. At some point in the future, I'm sure I'll settle down.
All right, fair enough. How about your cost of living? Because a lot of people, you see YouTubers, there are YouTubers that make videos and they say, live in Thailand for 30,000 baht a month. Now, I've spoken to a couple of different people about this, and I do believe that if you want to live for 30,000 baht a month, you are going to be on your bare bones. I mean, it's not a great way to live, and I personally don't agree with kind of that angle of saying that, you know, Thailand's so cheap, live for 30,000. Can you give me, you don't have to name your exact figure, but if I asked you what kind of figure, cost of living, your lifestyle over here, you have healthy hobbies, you're active guy, how much money you spend?
Honestly, so as my income has grown, I spend more and more, and it's simply because I want to invest in myself, right? So when I first moved out to Thailand, I was living in one of the cheapest cities in the country, which is Chiang Mai. And back then I was living off noodles on the street. I was making about $500 a month and spending about $400 around that. So I was living like bare minimum. I didn't even put the aircon on and it gets crazy hot in Chiang Mai. As my income's grown, yeah, I spend more because I want to invest it myself. So I know that where I live has a huge impact on my creativity and how inspired I feel and how focused I can work too. So I'm not going to name an exact figure, but it's way more than I spent in Manchester, for example. I spend a lot more on my apartment in Bangkok than I do in Manchester. And I think...
If I said, is it over 100k?
You put me on the
just
spot
yes
there.
or no, we don't go any further than that.
Slightly, yeah.
Okay.
And I know it's big numbers, but it's just because I want to live in a place where I feel truly happy, and if my expenses are far less than my income, I'm comfortable with that, yeah. So the other biggest expense I have in Bangkok is investments in myself. And when I talk about investments like coaching and people around me who can sort of bring me to another level. So for example, in the gym, I spend a decent amount on a personal trainer, and 5 times a week I'm training, but it's only because I know that I spent 8 years working out, didn't make any progress, didn't make any gains, and as soon as I got a coach, they brought me to another level and I started seeing progress. And I know that if you spend 1 day with a master, that's worth the same as a year of self-study. So I'm happy to invest more in coaches and that sort of thing.
Cool. If I ask you the pros and cons of living in Bangkok, I think you've named a lot of the pros already.
Yeah.
So let's go into the cons.
Bangkok is very expensive, I would say. Compared to, Chiang Mai or any other sort of city like that, you can easily spend more than you do in England or any sort of Western country. So it's pretty pricey. But at the same time, you can live cheap as well, if you want to. On top of that, as a massive city, it's crazy, it's chaos, right? Like just walking down the street, there's motorbikes everywhere, it's a little bit claustrophobic, you've got crowds of people walking towards you, and it can feel a bit crazy, and you just have to be comfortable with chaos. If you want things to be regulated and going by the rules and everything to be very formal, Thailand is in the right place. But if you're happy living in a bit of chaos, living somewhere that's a bit crazy, Bangkok's a great city for that.
It's a great city for adventure.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And if you have that adventurous heart, that adventurous spirit, Thailand and Bangkok is a great place. That's why I always loved it, because I like adventure. If you look at America, the grid system, and New York, I suppose New York is a bit crazy as well,
yeah.
But planned cities and planned structure, everything is organised. That's good, it's efficient. But on the opposite side, where everything is chaotic and you have soys inside and outside and everything's going on, there's something about that, it's charming.
There's so much character in the city. It's so interesting. Like you say, you can walk down a soy, you'll see a whole new neighborhood that you've never discovered before. And also the characters that you meet in the city, like your channel shows, you've got so many characters and interesting people, and it's never a dull day in Bangkok. There's this new story every single day.
There's so many characters, that's for sure.
Yeah. It keeps things interesting, definitely.
It does indeed. Right, so advice for anyone who's considering moving over here, doing what you did.
Sure. So first thing I would say, if it was me, work out your income first before you come here. I see a lot of people who, before they start traveling, they think, right, I'll figure it out in Thailand. I'll start a business once I'm over there and it will come together. And I've seen so many people who have to go home or stop traveling or go back to their 9-to-5 office job simply because they didn't have an income or any sort of momentum before they got out here. And the thing is, if you want to make good decisions, which is what you need to grow a business, then that comes without pressure. That comes when you're comfortable and you're just focused on growing the business without any stress or any pressure, such as paying the bills. So definitely figure out your income before you come out here, I would say. I know some people haven't, but this is what worked for me. And then also just take action. Just get started. Don't worry about getting things perfect. Don't worry about spending months planning your business and creating some crazy business plan to figure things out. Just get started. Get 1% better every day. Set weekly goals, monthly goals, quarterly goals. I live by goals. And then you will see progress and you'll keep moving in the right direction.
Do you actually write down your goals so you can actually physically see them?
Yeah, I'm a bit crazy for goals, I gotta be honest. I have a whiteboard in my office and it's like, right, here's what I'm gonna do weekly, monthly, quarterly, yearly. Here's what I want to do in my lifetime. This is my vision for the future, and that's what keeps me motivated. Honestly, I love to make progress and I love to track my progress along the way.
So tell us about your morning routine.
Sure. So normally I live like a granddad, so if I'm not playing music at night, then I'm asleep by 9 p.m. or something like that. Yeah. And then I wake up at 6 a.m, get a coffee, start working through my quarterly goals. Every 12 weeks I set a game plan for everything I want to achieve for work and personal, and then I just run through that list, make sure I'm making progress, I know all the actions I need to take, and just tick them off.
What software are you using for that?
It's pretty basic. I'm just using Google Sheets, yeah, so anyone can do that. But it's right, here's the goal, here's a task that I need to do for that, here's a status, so whether I've actually done it or not, and here's how often I need to complete that task. And I just break it down step by step, because I think for me, a lot of people, they have dreams and aspirations, which is amazing, you definitely should, but you also need the execution behind that. You need the game plan, because ideas without execution is just hallucination, as they say.
What are your future plans?
For me, I want to keep growing, keep scaling the business, keep writing songs and getting better at songwriting, and improve my singing voice as well. This year, I would like to spend 1 month in America, actually try the US and live out there, and just keep making progress, you know.
Do you see yourself in Thailand for the long haul, or could you see yourself moving to another country for a couple of years or whatever?
So for me, I can definitely, for like the next 2 or 3 years, I can see myself in Thailand. I think right now it's my favorite country. It's a place where I can grow every single day. After that, I would like to try living in the US. Yeah. Purely because I want to have a good go at songwriting, improving that side of things, and I know there's a lot more opportunities out there.
Which part of the US?
I was considering either New York or LA, yeah. Just to try it out and see how far I can take things.
New York, baby.
New York, baby, the Big Apple.
Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave links to Julian's website and his Instagram in the description.
Perfect.
And if anyone's interested, you want to follow him on Instagram. He's living a good lifestyle, a good guy to connect to, and yeah, so check him out and subscribe to my channel. If you're not already subscribed, hit the like, leave us a comment, let us know what you thought of this interview, and I will see you on the next one. Take care, see you later.
Thanks.